taped at the home of a Dean, Trudy George, 12 Colby Street in Colebrook, New Hampshire, on Thursday, September 16th, 1999. The interviewer is Joan Walsh. Now, Trudy, let's start at the beginning. Where were you born?
In Winstead, Connecticut.
And what year?
1912.
What's the date?
September 14th.
1912. Very good. Can you give me the names of your mother and your father and name off as many siblings as you can?
My father's name was Earl, and my mother's name was Lucy.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a brother, Roland, a sister, Ruth, a brother, Neil, and a sister, Doris, and then I was next, and then I had Lucille, Lila, Roger, Richard, and Pauline.
That's a good-sized family. 10 children.
Yeah.
10 children. Where did you live when you were growing up?
Well, mostly in Vermont. I distinctly remember that my first vivid memory is when World War I ended. And I was a little girl, 6 years old, and standing in a chair at the sink washing dishes. And my father was in the next draft. If they had anybody dead, he'd had to go.
Is that right?
That's right. And Harold's father the same way.
So they escaped it by having the war end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gee. In spite of the fact that he had that many children, he would have been called?
That's right. They were getting down to their last
dregs, really. Yeah.
He probably was, he wasn't young, but he wasn't as old as some of the others that didn't go.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my first vivid memory, is of the bells ringing and everybody making racket and didn't mean anything to me then, but I think about it now because I can see myself.
You were only 6 years old.
That's right.
Yeah. Jay, that's great. Now, how about your schooling? Did you go to school where?
I went to school in a one-room schoolhouse for 8 years in the center of the town of Hatford. That's part of White River Junction.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went 2 years to Hatford High School, and then my family moved to South Royalton, and I graduated there in 1930.
From the high school in South Royalton?
Yeah, and that is now a law school, the building.
That's right, yeah.
Where I went to school.
Mm-hmm. Now, tell me again, how did you happen to get the nickname Trudy?
Well, I can't really remember. I know that they called me Trudy at home, but when I went to school, they never heard of that, so they started calling me Trudy. And that's how it evolved, but it's something to do with a doll that I had, and I cannot remember what she told me.
When you said Trudy, how did you spell that?
T-U-D-Y.
T-U-D-Y.
Yeah.
And Fruity was like F-R-U-I-T-I-E?
No. Fruity.
No.
Trudy.
Trudy, but then what was the other?
Tootie.
Tootie.
T-U-D-Y.
T-U-D-Y. Okay.
This is a funny name. I don't know. It was something to do with the doll that I had. And I've asked her enough times, and I thought I could remember, but I can't. And my older sister is in a nursing home, and she probably could tell me if she were with it, but she's not.
Yeah. But you had such a lovely first name. Adine is a beautiful name, I think.
I never liked it. And my mother didn't like my grandmother's name. I was named for both of my grandmothers, Adine and Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
But my grandmother's name was Addie, and my mother didn't like that.
I don't blame her. I don't like Addie, but Adine, the whole name is...
She had a friend whose name was Adine Farwell, and so that's why they named me that.
Yeah. It's a very pretty name. I've always thought it was. Because you don't hear that name very much, do you?
And mine is spelled, Trudy is spelled with a Y, not an I.
Yes. No, I like the Y. Yeah, I like the Y. Now, tell me when you came to Colebrook.
I graduated in 1932.
2 years after you graduated.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And worked, did housework. I was a kitchen executive.
A domestic engineer, in other words.
Yeah. No, kitchen executive. And I worked for Mrs. Spray, on the corner where the Wooders live now, over on Bridge Street.
Oh, yeah. Purdy Gray.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not Purdy, it was her aunt.
Her aunt. Mm-hmm.
And I worked there until I was married. And then I've been a housewife ever since. And a gardener and
a mother.
mother,
Yeah.
grandmother, an aunt.
Yeah. When did you meet Harold?
I can't tell you the exact date, but I met him at a dance
Where?
in Colbert.
In Colbert.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And we danced all through the years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to too. And tell me something about your early married life. How many years were you and Harold married?
62.
Yeah. Now tell me about your early married life.
Well, where did we live? We lived first in the house where Susie Peach is.
This is always on Colby Street, isn't
I've
it?
always lived on
Yeah.
Colby Street, yeah. And the people who owned the house, they were friends of Harold's family, and we lived upstairs there. But finally, they were going to go away for the winter, and they had to close up the house. And we had no way of having any heat. So we moved, and we moved up into the building where the store is now, that beautiful little house that used to be there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a nice apartment upstairs, and we lived there. And then for half a day, we moved from there down to the house where the hats are.
Mm-hmm. The duplex.
Yeah. And then in 1951, we moved back up on this side of the street.
Yeah, to this house.
Yeah, this house.
And that's it. That's where you've been. So you were married 67 years. Wow.
62.
62 years.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Someone once told me they never met a man that they would live with for 62 years.
Well, you know, my younger boy used to say that he couldn't understand how people could stand each other for longer than 5 years at a time. I said, but divorce is expensive.
Yeah, when we got married to stay. That, we planned on being married and having a family and so on and so forth. But
that's the way people thought about it then.
Now they don't anymore. They don't. If I don't like it, I'll get out.
That's
they
right.
Don't get married anyway, so.
Yeah, that's right. Whole other ball game, isn't it?
It's altogether different.
Yeah.
I don't approve of it, but nobody asked me, so I still think they're missing an awful lot.
Oh, I think so too.
Have a fight and have it and get it over with and make up and start over. But this business of walking out, I know, because when my grandson's wife just doesn't want to be married anymore.
She just left.
Yeah, 5 years. No, he left. She didn't want him in the house.
Oh.
Well, he's had a bad time. I know two people. You have to have two people to fight, quarrel.
That's right.
But you don't have to carry a grudge over every little thing that bothers you.
That's right. Yeah.
Days, but I think she probably had reasons. Takes two to tango.
That's true. Did they have children?
One little boy.
Yeah.
He's a year and a half old.
Oh, gee.
Johnny has him down to his mother's every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And so Sonama's been right out straight. She's very, very tired. And she's grown very old the last year.
I bet she's tired. Yeah.
She said it's not easy to have a baby, all the time.
No.
Not takes care of him most of the time, but
Yeah.
nevertheless, there's a lot of extra doings, with the baby.
Does her son live nearby?
Pardon?
Does her son live nearby?
No, he's living with them right now.
Oh, I
He finds
see.
an apartment. He just changed jobs, and he's living in. He's working for an insurance company. He's an accountant,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't tell you the name of it. It doesn't matter.
It's a good profession to have, accounting. Yeah, very.
That and the health field
You can always get a job and a good job.
and computers.
Yeah.
And a nurse can almost always get a job if she wants
Yes. And now, tell me about the birth of Norma.
it. Well, I had Dr. Norris was my doctor, and when I was going through some papers, I found a little slip that she had given me a little bill on it, and it was marked paid. It said $46 and something
For the baby.
for the baby.
Goodness, yeah.
And I gave it to her just recently, and I said, show it to the kids when they have to pay $1,200 or $2,000 to have the
least.
baby.
Yeah. Isn't that something? Golly.
So I said, she grew up on Colby Street. She played cowboys and Indians more than dolls because all of the little kids on the street were boys.
Who were some of her playmates here on Colby Street?
Philip Hughes, Teddy Jordan, Bruce Bailey, Georgie and Roger Gould, and Howard Peach.
Any girls?
They were no girls.
All boys.
For a while.
Yeah.
That's why she played cowboys and Indians.
Yeah.
If you want to play with us.
Yes.
But eventually they had some girls. So she was very popular in school. And I think one reason was that they could come down here and eat after school.
They like that.
And there was always somebody here. I never went off and left her. You know, I mean, with a babysitter or left her from home from school by herself.
My mother was like that, too. You could do it at that
That's
time.
right.
Yeah.
You didn't have very much. You had to work for what little you did have, but at least we were happy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not frustrated and the way they are now, lost.
Yeah. It's sad, isn't it?
It is. You can't blame the kids altogether, because they've been made to think that they can have everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they both work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, did Norma, she went through high school here.
Yeah.
Right.
And she went to Bates College. And at the end of her junior year, well, she met Jack. The first year he came here to teach, she was up playing golf one afternoon.
He taught here in Colby, did he?
1 year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I had told her, go up to the country club. I said, there's some young teachers around, maybe you'll see one. Well, I don't know them. And I said, well, find out a way to know them.
Yeah.
I said, I played golf with Dr. Daldera.
Oh, Frank Dodera?
Yes, I played back and forth 1 and 2 with him.
Did you?
So I said, oh, she said, you know who I've been playing golf with? And I said, probably Captain Daldera. She says, oh, Mama. She said, John Mondegat.
Uh-huh.
And he came down here that night, and he said that was the first mistake they made because he never left.
Yeah. She's such a pretty girl.
Well, she's changed a lot. She had to have a squamous growth. It was malignant, but not, like melanoma.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a scar on her nose and up onto her forehead. And now she's got another little spot down here. She said, I gotta have checked out.
Will those scars go away after a while? No.
Not completely, but I don't think anyone who didn't know her would ever think about it.
Yeah, yeah.
But
she graduated from Bates, though, didn't she?
She graduated. They consider her an alumnus, but she graduated really from Boston University because at the end, when she got married, at the end of her junior year, we told her, said, we sacrificed an awful lot to put you through school, and you're not going to get married if you don't finish your school.
Good girl, yeah.
So I'm not going to think about the things that I could have done and had and have you throw it away.
So she agreed to go?
She agreed, and she transferred down there. And, of course, she didn't have any kids there for about pretty near 2 years. She had the first one, and then she had 4 more.
Yeah.
But anyway...
so she got her degree from BU then?
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, they always send her all of their paraphernalia from Bates, too, just the same.
Mm-hmm.
Then she went and took a course so that she could substitute.
Mm-hmm.
She did very well in that, and so she didn't work until the kids were in school.
Then did she go back teaching a bit?
Yeah.
Did she?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So she leads a very busy life, doesn't
she?
she? Yeah.
Well, they have a lot of international friends. Jack goes to all these countries, to evaluate the American schools for the government.
Mm-hmm.
He's been everywhere, and sometimes she goes with him. And that's when I came in handy as a babysitter, the kids up here or down there.
Mm-hmm.
And he's very social. They have a lot of social activities going on. He likes people, and he's got to have somebody around, something going on. You drive me crazy. He's so itchy.
Yeah.
He can't be idle.
Yeah, even now at his age.
No, he doesn't want to be idle.
Yeah.
He's almost 70.
Yeah.
He will be next April. So they have these people that they've met overseas, and when they come over here, they stay with them, a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We get a couple right next door, and he is from Wales.
Mm-hmm.
And so, being Commodore of the Yacht Club, and I said, and Mama worked in the galley.
Now they have a cottage that they own on the Cape. Yeah.
Yeah, they had that before they ever bought the big house. And we used to get down. A lot of people from Colby would go down there and stay.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, it's not. It's a house, really. 3 bedrooms and kitchen and living room.
Yeah.
Bathroom, a screened-in porch. It's a cute little place. And they rented from the latter part of June until the latter part of September. But this year it's going to be until October because a couple from Toronto are there, an older couple, and they wanted it for 7 weeks.
Wow.
So
That
gave
takes
her
care
a
of the
break.
taxes and the water bill and a few
That's
things
right,
like that.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, because they pay them on this house. This is her house.
Yeah.
We put it in her name a long time ago, just so there wouldn't be any confusion.
So you were lucky in a sense that you had just one child.
That's right.
No nonsense over who was going to do
what. If you had
what.
somebody else, you wouldn't have all the problems. And I said, you wouldn't have everything else either.
That's right.
It works both ways. It's just one of those things. Some people have a lot and some don't.
It's amazing, though, someone who was brought up as an only child to have 5 children of her own.
That always works that way, Joe.
I know it. Well, I was alone, and I had just 3. But I knew I wanted more than just one,
That's right. Yeah.
And so you never know.
I think that's the way it is now. Her kids, they're going to have 2.
Yeah. Yes. 2 is the going number these days.
Yeah. Not more than 2. Well, what did they say? If you have 2, only 2, one will, they won't get along. If you have 3, 2 of them will gang up on the other one, so you're going to have 4.
And you go on and on and on.
And on and on.
I think most people nowadays feel probably that they can only really properly do for 2.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
I'm sure they do.
So they limit
the kids
their
all take out loans, college loans, and I guess probably hers have got theirs all paid off by now.
Yeah. They give you 10, I believe it's 10 years to do it.
I don't know how long, but a lot of them never did it, didn't even attempt to pay it back. That's why it made it so hard, because the next crowd to borrow.
Yeah.
That's not right.
No, it isn't right.
But
now, tell me something about Ida Jacobs. You say she was a cousin of Harold's?
I won't say it, but I should right along.
Go ahead.
She was a witch.
A witch. Yeah.
A witch.
Well, I've heard that from other
she
sources
was
too.
terrible.
Yeah.
She was an only child, and you could tell.
Uh-huh.
Mother waited on her hand and fought. She was even jealous of Norma.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Because when I take Norma down to see the old aunt, she would always have a time, because Aunt Florence would say, well, Norma, we'll have a little stool to sit on, and she didn't, and so she got one out of the cupboard for her, and Ida said, she can't have that. That's mine, and I'm going to cover it.
Ooh, yeah.
And she said, you're not going to cover this one.
What house was it that Ida lived in?
Stones.
Stones.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then they owned the double one where we lived.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I thought she did, but I wasn't sure. But now, wasn't her father a very nice man? Or was he?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay, because I never knew him. No. Yeah.
But I heard all kinds of things about him, and I think I would put a different definition of him. But I don't know.
Yeah.
But Harold's Aunt Grace was a nice little woman.
This was Grace George.
Yeah. She never married. And I think probably maybe her folks didn't want her to marry. I don't know. But anyway, she never did. But she loved to play cards, and she worked in the hardware store for a while.
At Hicks's, you mean?
Yeah.
Did she?
Well, it wasn't Hicks's then. I don't know.
Johnson? Wasn't there a Johnson family that owned that in one time?
I don't know who owned it.
Yeah.
To tell you the truth, I don't really know. The Hickses have always had it as far as I could
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. So she was a maiden lady and stayed a maiden lady.
Yeah,
Lots of times girls did that in those days, didn't
but
they?
She had some little diaries that I found in her stuff, and we were picking that over. And they used to play a game they called Muggins. And we could never figure out what Muggins was.
Yeah.
It was some kind of a card game.
Mm.
But in her little diary, we played Muggins. That was the entertainment.
Oh, yeah.
Cards.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ida never married.
No, that's right. I did hear that. Yeah. I think she was gone when I got here. I don't remember ever knowing her.
Let me see. 56.
We got here in 56.
You did?
Mm.
Well, that's the year that Harold's Aunt Grace died, in 56. That's the year Norma was married.
Mm-hmm. I don't know about Ida. Maybe she was still alive. I'm not sure.
I think that Aunt Grace died first.
Wasn't Ida a big mucky muck in the Republican Women's Club?
Could be.
Yeah.
Yes, I guess probably she was.
Yeah.
Yes, probably she was.
Yeah. But she was not as nice a person as Grace.
Mhm.
Were they of an age?
Well, I think that Grace was a little older than Ida.
Mm-hmm.
Ida would have been a second cousin or a third. I never can figure that out.
Yeah.
Once removed or twice
Oh,
removed.
yeah. But Grace was the aunt.
Yeah,
She was an aunt, yeah.
and that's Linda's her religious name, Linda Jean Grace.
Oh, yeah.
And so I had a little copy of it that belonged to her Aunt Grace. It was aluminum, but it was kind of beat up. But it was quite heavy, and it had the name Grace engraved on it, so she took that home.
For confirmation, probably.
Yeah.
Well, now, Norma's children have been raised Catholic, right?
Well, only one of us married in the Catholic Church.
Yeah, but, people are strayed away these
They
days.
straight away.
Yeah,
Well,
but they were basically like the First Communion and
my
confirmation.
oldest granddaughter said I had to go to confession, and she said I had not done one thing wrong to anybody. And I said, what am I going to tell them?
Yeah.
So she said, I made up some real good stuff.
My daughter-in-law has told me the same thing. I had to sit there and think what I could say, You're going to do it, you might as well do it right.
That's right. She said, they won't ask me again, but Errol never believed it. He was born Catholic, of course.
That's right.
His mother was Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
But he never believed in confession. He said, I can't see how that's going to make me any better than somebody who doesn't confess. Who just doesn't like it. Go.
Some people object to confessing to another person.
Yep.
They feel that that person is really not any better than they are, and why should they confess sins to that person?
I didn't like it anyway.
Now, getting back to some town things, what did you say about the flood of 1929? Were you here at that time?
No, I was not here, but Harold was.
Harold was, yeah. That's
and
when.
I don't know if he was graduated in 27. No, he was in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he still lived here. He lived with his Aunt Grace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's when the dam at the Balsams broke and the water came flying down into
I don't know
town.
what happened down there in White River Junction, but I know we didn't have any roads. And some of the kids had old Model T Fords that they drove to school, so they come down railroad tracks in their car.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah. And I walked 4 miles.
Kids walked in those days, didn't they? Walked to school, thought nothing
they
of
take them
it.
to school by bus. Mm-hmm. You put them in a bus and take them to phys ed.
Yeah.
It's me.
And you were healthier for it, though.
What?
You were much healthier for having walked.
That's right. And
sure.
I said, Mama used to come home for lunch every day. Yeah. She never had hot lunch.
Yeah.
And the kids right here in town.
Yeah.
They couldn't go home because Mama wasn't there to get them any lunch.
Yeah. So there you are. Now, what memories do you have of the Depression? You were here during part of the Depression, weren't you?
Yes.
You were married,
That was in the 30s.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you didn't have very much money. There were very few jobs around. Harold got the job in the bank. Somebody, I don't know who, left or died or something, but he and Happy Colby. And Happy was a good friend of his, and they both applied.
Yeah.
But they gave it to Harold because he went to a business school down in White Plains. So
he had a little edge.
Yeah. And the Depression, and you had to have food stamps, coupons to buy meat.
Mm-hmm. At that time, you did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To buy sugar.
Yeah.
They'd ask you how much canning you were going to do, and then they would figure out how much sugar you should have. That
was during the Depression, because I remember it worked like that during World War II as well.
Yeah.
But this was the Depression you were talking about. Yeah.
And things were not easy, but everybody was in the same boat, and you never thought about being deprived.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Of course, we all were. But what could you do?
Yeah. And I think the people here that lived on farms probably raised their food, raised animals. Nothing, no fancy frills beyond that, but they had enough to eat.
Enough food. But in the summertime, it was vegetables and berries. And in the wintertime, they had meat because you didn't have any way to keep it frozen.
Yeah.
Like they do now. And you had a beef critter or a pig that you killed. You've got to do something with it.
Yeah. Right. That's good. Now, do you remember the hurricane of 1938?
Yeah.
Were you here then?
Yeah, I was here. And I was over visiting Lucille and Glenn Wilson. You know where? On the corner of cross street, and where that house has just been sold. The Rulos had it.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's where Lucille and Glenn Wilson lived. They were good friends of ours. And I was over there visiting her, and Harold called me and he said, "You better come home right now." He said, "Mom was scared to death." She was 3 years old.
Mm.
The wind was blowing, the house was shaking, and we had to go way off up around some back roads to get home.
Were you here at this house then?
No, we were down the other one.
Down the duplex?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he said she was scared to death.
Now, was this Wilson man a relative of Bob Wilson's?
No.
No. Just happened to
His
have
wife was a daughter of John Banfield from up to Surstown Hollow.
Oh, mm-hmm.
Lucille Wilson, Lucille Banfield.
Mm-hmm.
And they were good friends. So I came home, and she was terrified. We had trees down all over the place, and one farmhouse out in Columbia just moved it, set it right off its foundation.
Is that right? Yeah. Mm. That was quite a thing.
People still talk about hurricanes. That's the worst one I ever saw.
Yeah. Yeah.
It makes me, even now, if we get a little tremor every once in a while, and they say, well, there was a slight stroke, a slight shock,
Yeah.
or earthquake, and then I get sick to my stomach. That's the way it made me feel.
I remember that year because we used to go to Lake Sunapee for the month of August, and we had just barely left to go home when this thing happened, when the hurricane happened.
Yeah.
So we missed that. Otherwise, we would have been caught in it too. Any other memories you have of that hurricane?
Of what?
Any other memories that you might have of that hurricane?
Well, not really too much.
Yeah.
We were on the same boat. Everybody had something that was wrong, and if you didn't have a tree down, you had some broken windows, and
That's right.
Have a path, and they always do.
Yeah.
And one place will be stopped clear, and then somebody else right next to them will get it. So
Right.
I guess that's what happened to us.
Yeah.
One thing I remember.
This house was okay, though, wasn't it? I mean, your house down there was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't have any problem. We didn't have any trees anyway.
Yeah.
So now I have a terrible time. Look at the trees.
The trees around here now.
Forest out here.
Yeah. Beautiful. That backyard. You'd never know that you lived on this street when you looked that way.
I know.
It's just so lovely.
That's a lot of people say. Come out here and you don't know there's a town. But you
That's
can't
right.
sit out there on that front porch.
No, but who wants to?
Well,
You could sit here,
Trucks and
Oh, yeah.
every minute you can't even visit.
And this is just so lovely to look out on from this room.
Of course, it hasn't been lovely the last 2 years because I haven't been able to do anything to it, and I couldn't get anybody that would do it. So they grew up the weeds this tall.
Well, Oriette told me about the girls coming down.
If you did.
That's great, because I wanted to come, but we were taking Mary Lou Placey out for her birthday, that particular last Sunday. So I couldn't do it, but had I not been doing that, I would have come down too and helped clean up the garden. But did Oriette round the girls up?
She must have.
She must have.
Somebody said, because one girl said she didn't, nobody asked her to go. And I said, well, I didn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah, just
so
come.
All I know, they just told me that they were coming, and I didn't know who was coming to the here.
Yeah, that's great,
But
though.
I had balloons. I got one up there on the ceiling now.
Yeah.
Some more over here.
That's
Balloons
great.
and all kinds of stuff.
Now, let's see, a couple more questions. How about the home front during World War II? What do you remember of that? What was it like here
getting
then?
up when it was dark and going up to the country club and sitting in that watchtower to look for planes.
Planes. Uh-huh.
We used to do that.
What did Harold do?
He was in the bank.
He was in the bank. Did he have some kind of a warden's job or anything like that?
I don't
No.
think so.
Yeah.
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
But, what was I going to say? We had to take certain hours. And of course, every once in a while we'd have a little blackout drill when we were to push a light so out.
Yeah.
Not even to light a match. And I can remember somebody lit a match who was sitting on the porch down there and everybody screamed. The Boer War?
Yeah.
On a match?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, anyway, we got through it.
What else? How about the rationing? You had gas rationing and...
we didn't have a car, so I don't really
No
know
problem.
about that.
At that time you didn't have it, yeah.
Mom was in the 7th grade before we had a car.
Mm-hmm. How about food rationing, though? You had food rationing, didn't you?
Well, as far as meat.
Stamps and things for sugar and that sort of.
That sort of thing.
What else? Do you remember anything else about that time? Did you roll bandages for the Red Cross, or did you do knitting?
I made millions of those.
Yeah.
You had to take the corsets, the thing out of the corset, the stay.
Yeah.
And that's what we folded that cloth with.
Yeah.
It was upstairs in the Baptist church is now.
Oh, okay. Oddfellows Hall, was it?
Yeah, where we used to go. And so many, I don't know how many times a week they had it and had it open, but I know a lot of people went. You just went as you could go, as often as you could go, yeah. There was always room for one more to sit down, and they made a lot of bandages.
Yeah.
But I can't seem to think of anything.
Did you knit the scarves, any of those scarves that they made?
Mittens with the trigger finger.
Yeah.
I knit those. And I've still got the directions somewhere.
Have you really?
Yeah. And of course, like in the last years of us having parties, we had liquor. It was available, but they were lucky if they could buy a 6-pack of beer for the whole evening. So we used to play charades and all kinds of things. Yeah. Can you imagine the kids getting together and playing charades now? No,
but I notice more young kids doing it at parties. I've seen that.
You have?
Yes.
Well, that's good. I hope they will. I said, what goes around comes around, and maybe it'll straighten out. I hope so.
Yeah. You had a good crowd of people to run with, didn't you?
We sure did.
Who were some of them?
Well, there was Carolyn and Dick, Claire and Frank Owen, Joe and Nuge, Lucille and Glenn, Rick and Ginny, Ellie and Bob, Woody. When you hadn't asked me, I could have named them all.
The Smiths, Lenore Smith and her?
Walt Smith and Joe Havlet. They're both gone.
Yeah.
Henry Levitt.
Yeah.
Let me think around the streets a little bit. I've got a whole list of them somewhere. Irving and Lowell Noyes. I can't think.
And you'd party quite often together, and usually the same crowd would stick together.
And you never knew who was going to be there. Now, our house was the headquarters. They most always came here at intermission or after the dance.
Yeah.
And I walked through out there one day, and I saw this man standing there, and I said, "Hi, and how are you?" And I didn't know who he was. And Dean Howard said, "Well, he was a buddy of his in the service." That he wasn't at all. He was somebody that Maxine Fuller was going out with, and he wanted to know if he could go, and Dean said yes. Everybody goes.
Everybody goes. So Dean and Jean would have come too.
Yes, Dean and Dean, and Betty and Faye.
Yeah.
And one night they got here ahead of us before we got home. And Charlie Pease was out there. Charlie married more, and Oswald and Betty. And he had taken the stone window off and come in through to unlock the door.
Charlie did that?
He was an awful actor.
Yeah. He was kind of fun, as I remember him, too.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
He was a joker, He loved to play jokes. And I can remember going to a dance one night on the other side of the river. There was some hay in the field and some bales. And he gets out of the cannibals and sets one on the fire.
Oh,
he was a firebug.
Oh, yeah. An arsonist.
Yeah, he loved to do that.
Speaking of dancing and going on the other side of the river, did you go to the old Bluebird?
I went once, and it burned that night.
Yeah, because it didn't last too long, did it, after it was built? Something like 5 years, was it?
It didn't last too long. That's the only time I went. It was a fireman's ball.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
And I think just about this time of year, November.
Yeah.
And first thing I knew, I heard the fire whistle. Somebody called and said the Bluebird's on fire.
Yeah.
I never went again.
Yeah.
But it was a beautiful spot.
That's what all the older people have said to me. Yeah.
It was just like Lawrence Well.
Yeah.
They laughed at you, made fun of you, but I would think they could listen to some of that soothing music rather than that bang, bang, whang, whang.
I know it.
I don't understand it.
Well, see, the kids have been brought up to that, so it doesn't shock them the way it does us.
You can't get into a bar or restaurant and they have it so loud.
But I think too, I know my own daughters-in-law have said how lovely they thought the ballroom dancing looked with couples on the floor.
Oh, that's right.
And I think they appreciate that, Yeah.
Well, the songs, you hear the songs that they used to play when we went to dances.
Yes.
You only hear it on one as well.
Yeah.
They have, of course, every Saturday night. Same as All in the Family. The kids couldn't watch that, but they can watch people with a knife carve somebody up.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything wrong with that. He was a bigot.
Yeah.
But that's all right.
To each his own, I guess, Trudy. Now, getting back a little bit to the town of Colebrook itself, what do you think about some of the changes that have taken place here? Do you feel that the town is very different, say, over the last 20 years?
Very different. I feel like I'm in a strange town.
Do you
I go
really?
in the grocery store and I don't know a soul.
Yeah.
Don't know a soul.
Yeah.
You read the paper and who's so-and-so. Just like the people going by the house, I have no idea who they are.
Yeah.
And there's a steady stream all the time now. Kids, baby carriages.
Yeah.
And for a while, it's very quiet.
Yeah.
But it's not quiet anymore. No, I think that's bad. They used to have a curfew, and that solved a lot of problems.
Is that right?
You better believe it.
What was the hour?
9 o'clock. But they could go to the movies. If they didn't get home from the movies right at 9, they didn't bother them.
Mm-hmm.
But he'd go home after the show was over.
Yeah. And
the cop walked around, and if they didn't go, he took them.
Who was the cop at that time?
I think it might have been Tom Toll. It
Uh-huh.
might have been Harold Cabby. What's the other one's name? It was I can see him, but I can't think what his name was. Frank something. But anyway, they said, we won't bother you if there's a movie and it doesn't let out right on 9, so you can get home.
Mm-hmm.
And just see that you go when the movie's over.
Yeah.
And they never knew where they were going to see him.
That's right, yeah.
Now they know right where he is.
And they only had one cop in town, didn't they?
That's right.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
He might be way over on Pleasant Street, or something be going on down here, and the first thing they knew, he's down here.
Did he have a car to drive in?
No,
he walked.
Yeah. I never saw him with a billy club or any kind of a stick.
Yeah.
Ever.
But he was some sort of a symbol of authority, wasn't he?
That's right.
And they paid
The
attention.
kids respected him.
Yeah.
And he respected them. But when they're so damn bold and belligerent,
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of it's probably drugs and liquor.
Yeah, doesn't help. But there was always a drinking problem here. I mean, if you could afford liquor,
Well, it always is in every town.
Yeah.
That's what Fred Harrigan used to say. Everybody got drunk in Colebrook. But I don't know too many people besides him that had to go to get dried up.
Yeah.
So I told him that once.
Yeah. He probably didn't like that.
He didn't like it at all. When he first came up here, he was terrible.
Yeah.
This one was drunk and that one was drunk.
Yeah.
But he didn't drink.
But of course, there weren't too many other things to do. I mean, you can make your fun.
That's right.
But it's centered around a house party or...
All you had was, you didn't have liquor enough to last you all night. You had maybe 6 bottles of beer.
And that was it.
That was it.
Yeah.
Somebody would bring that. We always brought the lunch wherever we went. Take sandwiches, cream, potato chips, pickles.
Yeah.
Coffee.
Yeah.
But everybody helped, and so it was convenient to have a party. I mean, it didn't cost you all that much.
And that's
everybody
right.
shared.
And you brought your own bottle if you had a bottle. And then you took home what you didn't drink. Didn't you do it that way?
Somebody else took it.
Somebody didn't beat you to it. Oh, yeah. Because I remember the first time I ever went to a party up here, we brought our bottle. And we were going to leave it. And someone said to us, oh, no, that's yours. You brought it. You take it back home.
Yeah.
Bring it the next time or finish it at home.
Sometimes they finished it all and they didn't have any to take it back home. But nobody in all that crowd, there were about 60 of us. And in all that crowd, there was never any hanky-panky. You might flirt with somebody, but that was it.
Yeah.
They used nothing to it.
Yeah.
But, no, we had some good parties. Norma said, well, Mama, I can remember sitting on the stairs.
I bet.
Listening.
Yeah.
Well, now they have parties, but they're a little more sedate than we were. But they're a little older, too.
Yes.
Than I was then.
Yeah. Can you think of some good things that you feel have happened to this town in the last few years? some positive
Well, I think
things.
it's nice that they got the nice library. I think it's nice that they have the historical society, but I'm feel bad that they didn't take the grammar school.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That was a very wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
Because the kids all I know said, "Look at that place up there, Mama. Doesn't that look awful?"
Yeah.
Did they put car wash in there?
Yeah.
Right by the kids go to school?
Yeah. Well, it depends on how he does it. If he does a good job and puts a little park in front where he said he was going to.
Yeah, that somebody said we don't need another park. We've got parks enough.
Yeah, that's true.
they
But we
won't
could
do
use a
that.
car wash. We don't have
I
one.
know why it isn't nice to have a little park wherever you can find a
I
spot
think
for it.
Look at Manchester. They have parks all over the city.
Everywhere. And
Yeah.
you know it's on TV, though, all around.
Yeah.
Where you drive, where they drive, they go by a bed of flowers and some trees. I think it's too bad that the schools have got such a reputation.
Well, they're faced now with the problem of enlarging schools physically, the buildings.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a
I
problem.
don't know it's going to be a problem because nobody's got that kind of money.
That's right. Well, they'll have to try to get grants, write grants, and some of it will come out of the taxes, it always does. But they've got to decide how much they want to do. They had this Turner report that told them what had to be done.
Yeah.
First priority, second priority, third priority. So that they could wait on some of it, but there were some things that needed to be done almost immediately. Now, how that will be paid
almost
for.
Mandatory things.
Yeah. See, they've let things go a lot.
I know.
Just like trying to build a new school, say a new high school. We've had chances to do that, and each time it was turned down by the voters. So every time it came up again, it got to be a little more expensive. So now we do sort of a patch-up job. And I don't know, you do what you can afford to do. That's about what it boils down to. And I'm afraid it's going to be like that.
But I still say that the kids that go to school here, I want them to say, well, they don't get any education. I said, they certainly do.
Oh, yeah.
And they get a good education. And if they want to go on, they can go.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't want to go on, forget it. Because they won't do anything if they do go.
That's right.
If they want to go and work at it, they can go anywhere they want to school, as far as their education is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in that.
No, I think you're right. Is there anything else that you'd like to say? We're almost at the end of this, and I don't want to tax you. So can you think of any other things you want to throw in here on this interview before we sign off?
Well, I didn't know what you were going to ask me, so I didn't have time to think. Well, I can't seem to think. It's a good place to live.
I think it is. I think for a woman alone.
By and large, like somebody said, I'm afraid to be alone at night. And then another one said, well, I've lived here all my life, and I never knew of anybody being attacked in their house.
Yeah. I have never been afraid here at night by myself.
No. I wouldn't go up the street at night in the middle of the night.
But you could.
I could.
You could.
I would be afraid.
Yeah.
Because I've been up there a few times and seen some of those people sitting on those store steps.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to meet them in an alley or someplace where it was too dark.
But lots of times I've gone walking alone late at night, and I've often thought, well, they may think I'm a little bit dotty, but nothing's going to happen to me, and nothing ever did.
No.
But no, I've never been afraid here. Right now, I'm fortunate in that I live in a house with other people.
That's right.
So that helps.
Well, I could have had somebody up here, but I don't know who to have, and I can't take care of it.
Oh, you don't want to fuss for that.
I can't do it, Joe.
Yeah,
I just can't take care of what I have to down here. I have to have enough help so that I can't take on anything more. I just can't do it.
You have a lady now that comes in and stays with you in the evening, do you?
She comes and stays from 9 o'clock until, she leaves here about 7:30 usually.
In the morning?
Yeah. She sleeps. All she does is sleep. She helps me to get into bed because I can't get my legs up on the bed.
Yeah.
And then in the morning she helps me get up and make some coffee. And she takes off.
Mm-hmm.
She has a very comfortable bed. I have two twin beds in my room downstairs, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Because I couldn't make her here if she were upstairs.
Right, yeah.
So anyway, last night as she got into bed, she said, well, you spoiled me. And I said, how come? Well, she said, I have a waterbed at home and I don't like it anymore after sleeping in this bed.
So you share the room then?
Yes.
Yeah, that's good, yeah. Is she here 7 nights or?
Yeah.
7 nights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as I can make it with what Social Security I have, even though I've got too much, they tell me.
Yeah.
I didn't suppose anybody ever had
Had too much.
No. But anyway, I shall stay here. But when I get so I can't get around it all by myself, then I'll have to do something else.
I think that's a good way to look at it. That's the way I feel, pretty much. I'd like to stay on my own as long as I can.
Well, that's right.
And you never know what's going to happen, you
That's
know.
right.
You don't.
That's right. And you know where things are. Like they said last night on TV, try walking from your dining room or your kitchen into your living room and see how you make out in the dark. Everything is black.
Yeah.
You had your bandage on your eyes or something, you see how you'd make out. And that would terrify me.
Yeah, well, it would frighten me too.
But as long as you can see and talk, of course, everyone couldn't talk.
Oh, that was so sad. I thought.
Someone else can't see, and you know, it's
Yeah.
No, I don't feel bad for him.
He did what he wanted to do. He wanted to eat. He enjoyed eating, and he said, "I'm going to eat anything I want to eat," and he did.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he hasn't got to go through hell.
No,
to die.
that's right. That's right.
Go for years and not be able to do anything. It's not much of a life.
No, that's true.
No,
that's
not
true.
really.
Yeah. I think having Oriette has been wonderful for you.
Yeah. Well, she came to me. He wanted to look out for me, so.
And she you know, she talked back to you, and
You know,
she
it's funny,
spruces things up,
can't-
and
She wouldn't have another job where she wouldn't have to be on time. She makes her own hours.
Yeah.
Now. She was supposed to come down this morning and fold some clothes and do some things. But the guy was going to come and fix her kitchen floor.
mm-hmm.
So it didn't make any difference to me because I'm going to be here anyway.
Yeah,
But were she working someplace where she had to be on time,
yeah,
she would really find it different.
yeah. Well, now she works in the restaurant. What is it, Friday and Saturday?
She worked there all day. Not yesterday. Day
Oh, she
before,
did.
all day yesterday.
I thought it was just Friday and Saturday. Well, she's added more hours than I guess.
No, she keeps doing that.
Yeah.
And he can't find anybody to work, and she said he was good to her, and so she has to.
Well, you do feel a certain obligation.
That's
You do,
right.
you know.
That's right. But I guess his wife, is going to teach him until January, and then she's going to quit.
Mm-hmm.
So she can keep her benefits.
Mm-hmm.
And then she'll quit, and then she won't be working so much, but she'll be right in the restaurant too.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Does she still teach in Berlin? Oh, yeah.
Goes every day.
Yeah, that's tough. And the little girl goes to school here.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know about how old the kids are.
The little girl would be school age, I think. Is it Jessica? Jessica, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think so. Smart little girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The kids are all smart. Like I was telling Mom, they're so smart. The things they say,
Yeah.
I said, God. But they've had access to TV, and
Yeah.
that was a babysitter, and sometimes I think he does a better job than the mother.
Sometimes, yes. And of course, the TV has brought these kids up beyond our kids' level
Oh, yeah.
at that age.
Oh,
you know?
yes, definitely.
Made them aware of a lot of
She
stuff.
said she couldn't get over how bright their eyes are. Right after they're born, their eyes are wide open and just like they can see everything
Yeah.
and know everything.
Yeah.
That one little girl on TV said, well, I guess I'm a kid and I guess I know.
Good for her.
Some of the mother said to her, she said, well, I'm a kid. And I guess I know.
I know.
Something about a cereal ad.
Yeah.
Something about the box.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then for the boxer. Oh dear.
Oh,
Well, no, I
jeepers.
don't know what else I can tell you.
Is there anything else you'd like to add? And we'll wind this up.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so? I'm very grateful for you being willing to sit here and be asked questions.
I just only explained.
Yeah.
Only one thing I always said, I hope my house will never have to talk because we've had some real wild parties.
Oh, yeah, but there'd be some good spicy things to
That's
tell,
right.
Trudy. Why not?
That's right.
Why not? Just like Dixon's house, same way, you know.
Yeah. Oops.
Dixon's, Einham and Trenham. We used to have some good times over there, too,
Yeah.
you know. Gee. Well, we'll wind this up then, and I thank you ever so much for having
Well,
me.
you're very welcome.
And the society is grateful
Somebody
to you.
think I'll listen to me squall.
Well, we're going to play some of this back to see how it came out. Is that okay with you?
Okay.